So next step is breakaway point. So this is our problem. I'll take one example to understand this breakaway point. So this is the example I'm taking. So breakaway point exists when there is two adjacent poles should be there, in that root locus must be approaching or lying, then breakaway point may exist here. Or else two adjacent zeros should be there, then in between that if root locus is there, then we can predict that there may be a breakaway point here also. Similarly, third prediction is last node should be 0, then from that root locus must be approaching to infinity, then breakaway point may exist. So these are the three predictions. But in our problem, pole and 0, two adjacent pole and 0 is there. So here breakaway point will not exist. So write a comment, no breakaway point. Okay. So next one is, step is intersection with imaginary axis. So for this we are having one formula, 1 plus g of s into h of s equals to 0. So intersection with imaginary axis means in the imaginary axis will there will be an intersection. Okay. So 1 plus g of s into h of s equals to 0. 1 plus, this is our g of s here, root locus g of s. The same thing I had wrote here. 1 plus g of s into h of s is not given, so I assumed it as 1 equals to 0. So if you solve this by taking LCM, then you will get this equation. Then form the root array for this characteristic equation. So intersection with imaginary axis, we got the characteristic equation. Now we need to form the root array. So you can see here, s is cube, that is odd number. This is also odd number. S cube term is there. So highest order right in the first, then descending s square, s1, s raised to 0, like that. Then s cube, it is odd number. You can see here s cube, then 2 plus k. Yes, this both are odd numbers. So 1 coefficient of s cube, then 2 plus k. Similarly, s square, even number, 2, then s square means here it will be s raised to 0, s square 0.5 k. So if this is s cube, then here it will be s raised to 1. Similarly, here if it is s raised to square, then here it will be s raised to 0. Right. So now how to get this? So what you do, 2 into this term, 2 into 2 plus k minus this, that is 0.5 k whole divided by this term 2. Here again for this digit, 2 into no term 0, 1 into no term 0. So here it will be 0. So intersection with imaginary axis, we got the characteristic equation. Now form the root array, highest order at the first, then descending order s square, s raised to 1, s raised to 0, then s cube, odd number, this is also odd number, write it here, its coefficient is 1, here 2 plus k, then s square term, here it is, then we are having s raised to 0, here if it is s raised to 1, it will be s raised to 0. So 2, its coefficient, then 0.5 k. Okay, I repeat, if this is s raised to cube, here it will be s raised to 1. If this is s square term, then here it will be s raised to 0. Right. Now I will get this equation, 2 into 2 plus k minus this into this, 0.5 k into 1, 0.5 k divided by this term 2. Similarly, to achieve this, 2 into no term 0, 1 into no term minus 1 into no term 0, so 0. Similarly, write it here. This whole term I will consider it as a into a into 0.5k 0.5k minus 2 into 0 whole divided by a, right? So this a and a will get cancelled, we will get only 0.5k. After forming this root array, we will be having one unsolved equation. This is solved, a get cancelled, a and a get cancelled. So by this characteristic equation we had formed the root array. So there is an unsolved equation in this root array, right? So this is the unsolved equation we are having. Here a got cancelled, only 0.5k is remaining, but here no cancellation. So this is unsolved equation. Take that unsolved equation, 4 plus 2k minus 0.5k whole divided by 2 equals to 0. So 2 becomes 0. So 4 plus 2k minus 0.5k equals to 0. So 4 plus 1.5k equals to 0. So 4 is equals to k. So 1.5 will come here. So 4 by 1.5 will get k is equals to minus 2.67. So this is your marginal value of k. So after finding Routh-Hurwitz criterion, we will be getting. So after forming the Routh array, we will be having unsolved equation. This is unsolved equation which I took here, which is equals to 0. From that we got k value, marginal value of k. Now after that, above unsolved equation we will be having auxiliary equation. So take that auxiliary equation. You can see here a of s is equals to, this is 2s square plus 0.5k, this term and this term. So I will write it here, a of s is equals to 2s square plus 0.5k, 2s square plus 0.5 into minus 2.67. So s square is equals to so you can see here we had formed the Routh array. So we got unsolved equation. From that unsolved equation we had find the value of k. If k is negative, then no need to go for auxiliary equation. Okay, k is negative, then no need to go for finding auxiliary equation, that is frequency of sustained oscillation s value. No need to draw this one. K is positive, then we should solve s value, which I solved like this. So above unsolved equation we will be having auxiliary equation. Take that auxiliary equation, that is s square, we wrote coefficient 2, then this 0.5k. So take that auxiliary equation is equals to a square plus 0.5k, then 2s square plus 0.5k, introduce k value, then find the value of s. Now k is negative, so no need to solve that one. Going through the question, if complex root, so this is question g of s, k s plus 0.5 s of s square plus 2s plus 2. If complex root, if it is existing pole, if it is existing in the denominator, then we need to solve angle of departure. So there is a formula for angle of departure, pi d is equals to 180 minus pi, where pi is summation of pi p minus summation of pi z. Summation of pi p means pi p1, pi p2, how many poles are there in a problem? All the poles will come here. Similarly, summation of pi z means pi z1, pi z2 and so on. How many zeros are there? That will come here. Next, I had redrawn the graph, 3 poles, 1 0. Now I am considering this pole. Why this pole? Because angle of departure, that is existing in denominator, right, in the poles. So complex root means minus 1 plus j, minus 1 minus j. So I am considering this one. for angle of departure -1 plus j. So I wrote pi d. So from this pole, draw a line for each pole and 0. Okay. Now I will mark this one pi p1, this as pi p2, this is 0, so pi z1. Okay. Pi p1, directly we will come to know that it is 90 degree. Here also pi p2, this part is 90 degree, right? So pi p2 is equals to 90 plus, see, this part is 90. What about this angle? So from this pole I will draw a line in between these two. In order to find the angle between these two, I have drawn one line which shows opposite. So here there is a formula, tan inverse of opposite by adjacent. So 90, this 90, this red line 90, we need to find angle for this. To find angle for this, from this pole draw a line in between these two which shows opposite. So 90 plus tan inverse of opposite by adjacent. Opposite measure it, adjacent measure it. So plus tan inverse of 1 by 1, which is equals to 90 plus 45, that is 135 degree. This is pi p2. Similarly, we need to find angle for this, right? So draw a line, straight line. From that directly we will get 90 degree, right? So only we need to find angle for this. So draw a line in between these two, opposite, which shows opposite line. So similarly I will solve pi z1 here. Pi z1 is equals to 90 degree plus this 90, which on red line I had drawn to understand that one, 90. So we need to find angle for these two. So in between these two I had drawn a line which shows opposite. How much it is? 0.5. So tan inverse opposite is 0.5 divided by adjacent. How much it is? 1. So 90 plus tan inverse of 0.5, that is 26.56. So from that we'll get 116.56 degree. Now put it in the formula. Add all pi p1, pi p2, similarly pi z1, pi z2, we'll get pi 180 minus pi. See, I'll calculate it here. Pi p1, pi p2, 90 plus 135. We are having two poles. 90 plus 135. How much will get? 90 plus 135. See here. 90 plus 135 minus pi z 116.56. So pi p 90 plus 135 minus pi z 116.56. So from that we'll get to 108.4. So 180 minus that, you will get 71.56 degree. Okay, so put that in your graph. So pi d, that is 71.56. So last step, that is angle of departure pi d, we got 71.56. 90 means somewhere here, 71 means somewhere here. So draw a line. So your angle is showing upward, right? So with respect to that, your root locus will move. Similarly here also, pi d will be having opposite sign here, minus 71.56. Minus means 90 degree will be here, 70 means somewhere here. totally 3 branches, 1 2 3. So starting we got n is equals to 3 now, so 3 branches. So this is your root locus.